Hello, welcome back to another Joevember video. Today we're going to continue talking about the G.I. Joe side of the Energon universe. In the month of November, I talked about it before. There's lots of things to celebrate on the G.I. Joe side of things. Today is no different. Today sees the release of issue 13 in comic shops. I had a chance to read it last night digitally. So we're going to talk a little bit about that to kick off the video, and then we're going to talk about I have more art to show. I've got some pages from issue 5 to check out, and then we're going to talk about later on in the video. I'm going to highlight some of the pages that are currently on sale at Modern Mythology Comic Art. I mentioned the sale before on the Tom Reilly, Duke, and G.I. Joe pages. That sale is now live. The pages are selling. But I want to take an opportunity to just highlight some of the pages. I took a handful of pages that are still available, reasons why I like them. They're not necessarily like the top tier that I think are available because those are still there. But there's really fun pages. Like there is a very affordable pages still on the site, and especially when you take in consideration how well these comics are selling, just definitely worth taking a look. So we'll talk about issue 13 first, then a look at more art, and then the pages that are on the site for sale. So issue 13. Yeah, Tom Reilly back on art. This really feels like a return to form as far as the bigger story that's being told in G.I. Joe. The second story arc by Andrea Milana was the art by Andrea Milana, still written by Joshua Williamson. The story on that one, it's a good kind of pause. It was a way to continue the story a little bit on the Duke side of things and the Cobra Commander Destro side of things, but a lot of it was about character development for Baroness and CoverGirl, and introduced some other fun G.I. Joe villains. Took the foot off the gas pedal a little bit, but still was an enjoyable read. I feel like we are fully putting the pedal to the metal back on this story arc for the Dreadnought War. It really picks up. It highlights again the hunt for more Energon, which is the focal point of what's going on. It's the key resource that all the Transformers are after, that now a G.I. Joe is aware of, and Cobra is naturally after. So it's this. The center of the universe is the Energon, which is the Energon universe. So it's fitting that now everyone is now searching for more resources. This is a very interesting issue. It moves super quick, which is great, which is kind of what I suspected we would see. Having it shipped twice a month, we're going to get the next issue in November 19th. This issue moves. It feels epic. It feels like Mad Max meets G.I. Joe, and I loved it. I love this issue. I don't want to spoil too much about it because it's just coming out today, but it delivers. It delivers on the action. It delivers on the art. The character moments are still here, all while moving. So yeah, that's definitely worth taking a look. Again, super excited to see Tom back on the title, and also I like that we're getting more of the bigger story play. Like I said, there were some character moments in the second arc, but here it feels like we are. Yeah, I heard an interview that Joshua Williamson said that early plans were to have this be the second story arc, so it would move right from the first into this. But they thought that it needed more time to breathe, so they reworked things, had that second story arc to have a little more character development, and then jump into this one. So this was always a big part of the early stages of the G.I. Joe side of things. Fantastic issue. Go check it out. Great jumping on point. They also have early on in the issue, there is a story thus far type summary. Fellow art collector, Southern Comic Geek will be happy to see that the pages that he bought are now published again in this issue. So yeah, super cool that they get you kind of caught up into the larger story, and then it jumps into the action. And there's some callbacks to early on in the Underground universe. So it's really building. It's continuing to build, all while delivering some fast-paced, great action. So yeah, love it. Excited for issue 14 in a couple weeks. So all right, so now let's jump to showing some of the art. Now, what I have last week, I showed some issue 4 art, and today I have a pair of pages from issue 5, which I really love that issue. It's a really the issue is all about the G.I. Joe team kind of coming together. The build up to now has been these individual characters and how they can, not a ragtag, but somewhat of a ragtag assortment of characters. And now it's them really coming together as a cohesive team, all their individual strengths that they bring to the table. So, all right, so let's just talk about it's a pair of pages. It's what is it? It's issue 5, pages 12 and 13. So it's a 2-page spread. It's a really awesome action heavy double page spread. That's what is that? I think I counted it before. It was 23 panels. And it's awesome. Let me I'll put it up on the screen here, but I just want to be able to look at these while I talk about them. What's really special about this spread is that that top panel of the team, Duke leading the charge there. That's the first time in the series where you get the Yo Joe, the famous Yo Joe. So it's them finally coming together and taking it to Cobra. They were in a very vulnerable position up until now. They were kind of captured by Cobra, and this is them, unarmed and just full on attacking, the forces of Cobra. Each of the Joes get three panel sequence on this spread, and I love that you can kind of read this in almost any way. I mean, you could read it just straight up, top left to top right, and then down, each row, or you could read it from the left page and then move on to the right page. But it's kind of fun in that way that the sequence is not necessarily tied so specifically that you have to read it in a certain order, which is always fun when there are pages that are like that. But to me, the way I read this is top left to top right, and then down as you go. Yeah, I love the reaction of Destro. Like, these guys are crazy. I mean, they're attacking. Like I said, they're attacking Cobra, and they're all unarmed. Clutches into his tank. He drops some of the ammo. He drops those and takes out some of the troops. Duke is getting fired at, nicked on his shoulder, and still continues on. Hand-to-hand combat. Stalker gets the kick there, grabs a shotgun, and then pretty brutal, right? What he does with the shotgun. Cover Girl. I really like the Cover Girl action because she takes in the first panel, she takes a slice with the bayonet, follows it up with, a punch to the jaw, and then takes the bayonet, returns the favor, and skewers the guy. It's a great way to show that, yeah, she's a pretty model, but she could take a hit and return the favor. So I like that it's adding that grittiness to her character. And Risk, you get him in his glory. Hand-to-hand combat is where the guy thrives, where he wants to be. An ex-cage fighter, so he's loving this. So at the end of his sequence, it's just him kind of like, yep, let's keep going here. Baroness shows how lethal she is with agile, lethal, taking the ruthless. And then at the end, this panel where Destro and Chameleon are there, in this panel, Destro's saying, hurry up, stop them before they get real weapons, because it's right there, right up until this point, it's them largely unarmed, and Stalker does get that shotgun, but it's them just on grit and determination that are really taking it to them. So, Destro's like, quick, before they get real weapons, and Duke says, too late. He already has a gun and a grenade. He's tossing it at Destro, and you get that wonderful, that it closes out this double page spread with that shot of Destro. You get the grenade that's in the reflection of Destro's mask, and which I've talked about it many times. Tom loves doing that. Loves, if there's a reflective surface, don't just make it shiny. Use it to tell some story, and that is wonderfully done here, because you get the expression as to what he's reacting to, and that you see it right there. So, yeah, this was a special one that I really, when I read the book, it's a really impactful moment, because it really is all about the team coming together, and that's what this majority of this issue is about. So I really love this issue 5, and just to get each of them highlighting in their own way. But done in a calculated 3-grid or 3-panel pattern for each of them. I could stare at this one. This has so much to offer. It's a bunch of small panels, but again, it doesn't feel small. It's these big moments that are happening, or I guess it's these small moments that are happening within a big action sequence, and you feel the scale of this fight that's going on. Yeah, this one, I could get lost in this one for a very long time. There's just so much here to appreciate and enjoy, and it flows wonderfully. You get all these small moments that add up to a big fight, and it's just what Tom does here. Again, I just really admire his skills. I mean, there's there's not a wasted line on this page. Everything that's here, it adds to the story, and it's still clean. It's cleanly, it reads cleanly. It doesn't get cluttered, even though there's all those panels on the page. It doesn't feel overwhelming to the point where you can't take it in. It just, you clearly see the moments play out as they go, and it starts with the charge and then ends with the grenade tossing towards Destro. It just reads wonderfully. It's an easy read, and yeah, that's not always the case when you get a lot of panels on a page. So yeah, that's really happy to have gotten that one for sure. But yeah, so next week we'll talk about some other pages that I got, and the other two pages I have are from issue 6. That's the only thing that I have from issue 5, which I really love that issue. But yeah, the next two pages that I have are both from issue 6, but we'll talk about those in the next video. Now I want to take an opportunity to, just for fun, take a look at some of the pages that are still on Modern Mythology, and talk about some of the pricing. A big appeal to some of these pages from Tom is that they are reasonably priced. We talk about in the art world how much the art prices have gone up, and how absurd full issue sales, and they're just unobtainable for so many people. But there are pages that are sitting on the site that I think are good examples that are less than $300. That are I think all the pages that I listed here, I kind of specifically made it so that I think the most expensive one is $440, which anything under $500. Yeah, I don't want to pretend that that's not a lot of money, because it is. But in the grand scheme of things, everything's going up. Anything in the hobby, action figures, like a basic Marvel Legends is like $30 now. So yeah, $500 is a lot more than $30. But when you look at Hot Toys, that figures are $300, and it suddenly becomes not as crazy of a leap to kind of get into some of the comic art, especially when the prices of these are right around the price of a premium toy item. Be a masterpiece Transformers figure, or like I said, the Hot Toys. It's not Lego sets. Oh my gosh, like Lego sets are $400. They just released a Lego Death Star that's $1,000. So all of a sudden, original art is not a crazy thing to think about. Like that's way too much money, because there are things out there that collectors of different adult collectors for different things, they're spending that money. And why not have something that's on your wall that's a one of a kind thing, especially if you're enjoying these stories? I mean, what I'm going to say is not going to convince someone to all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, I want to buy G.I. Joe art. But if you are enjoying G.I. Joe, you're enjoying the stories, it's worth taking a look. So that's all I can say. But yeah, let's dive in. Let's talk about some of the pages, and because talking about art is fun, and that's what we're here to do. So first, I'm going to talk about some of the pages from Duke, and Duke is the series that it's 30% off. So all of these are 30% off. I'll talk about what the original price is, and then I'll say what the what the sale is. First, we're going to take a look at Duke issue 3, page 9. I made a list of there. So issue 3, page 9, and that's a page where Baroness and Duke are they're both captured. Duke finds himself on the wrong side of the military, so he is imprisoned along with Clutch and Baroness is kind of egging him on, trying to get him to fight back against the military, because Baroness is like, why are you staying loyal to them? What's wrong with you? So she's just pushing his buttons, and you see that he's very tense and angry, and you get that sense in that first panel, and she's just loving it. She's got that smirk there. And then you kind of get in his thoughts. You get that silhouette panel in the third panel, and Clutch is just kind of like, whatever, these guys are having this argument, and he's just resigned to the fact that he's stuck in prison. So yeah, this is it's a really good character page, and it's $375 was the original, and it's on sale right now. It's $262.50. So right around $250 for a nice storytelling page like this. I think that's super reasonable. All right, now let's see. Let's go to, actually missed one back in Duke issue 2. Issue 2, page 9. And that one, this is a panel page that you get some nice character moments. Got a lot of great background detail. It's Duke and Clutch at Clutch's his junkyard, and Duke has turned to his friend Clutch for help, and in talking about what Duke wants to accomplish next, you get the subtle cues of the introduction to the character of rock and roll. You get the boombox being clunked down there. You get him putting the headphones on. Duke and Clutch still talking, loading up his gun, and then you get the sound of the music coming in there. It's a great mood setting storytelling page where you get the tease to an introduction to a character, and I think that's just a solid what Tom chooses to focus in on. The boombox, the headphones, the ammo, all just great. They just are wonderful. $350, $245 is what with the discount is what that one is, and that's under $250. That's I don't know how to. That's fun. That's a fun page, and it's got Clutch on there, which Clutch has quickly become a favorite of mine because of this series. Now, Duke 4, page 18. All right, this page is one that screams to me Duke is a man of action. It just screams man of action. So he climbs up this shaft. You get his hand kind of coming up over in that second panel, grasping, and then pulls himself up. He's clearly been through some stuff, but he soldiers on. This is just a really representative of the determination of Duke in this series, and you get that here just through this sequence of panels as he arrives at the Mars base and surrounded by all of his tanks and all the weapons and stuff. So he feels like he is close to finding all the answers that he's looking for. In this moment, he's like, this is my big moment. I'm here to I'm at the end of my adventure, end of my mission, and he's very determined here. So that one is, let's see, yeah, $245 after the discount. Pretty good. And the last one from Duke we'll take a look at is issue 5, page 2. And I mean, I could go through many more of these to talk about different pages, and I might still do that in another video, just to talk about maybe some of the pages that are maybe a little more expensive, or talk about different for different reasons. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, Duke 5, page 2. All right, so Duke he arrives at Mars Industry, and a lot of what goes on at the end of the Duke miniseries is Duke versus one of the battle android troopers, the bats that Destro has created, and it's a good man versus machine moment, and Duke's missions all along. It started because a machine, Starscream, murdered a friend of his. That's what kind of sparked this mission. So to have, this is clearly not the end. It's just the beginning of Duke's story. But to have the miniseries culminate in a man versus machine fight was really fitting. And in this page is where the fight is kind of pretty much starting. The bat has got Duke there, but it's just the struggle on his face in that top panel. Him grasping the arm, and just this not huge, not a lot, but just the lines that are kind of coming off the side there to show the pressure of the claw around Duke's neck. That's just super effective. But everything else is very, very clean. Obviously not the blood in his face and the scruff that he has, but I mean just the lines itself are pretty clean. And then the same thing in the second panel. It's very minimal background, but it's not about that. It's about the grasp that the bat has on Duke, and that's what you're supposed to focus on, and that's what you do focus on. Then it pulls back even further, and you get the person who's behind the attack is Destro there with Mercer at his side, and I just love how it starts really close and then just gradually pulls back, and then you kind of understand the setting of what's happening there. So I love this page. I've always loved this page. I have some other pages from this issue that I focused on, and haven't come back to these, but that's one that I could see. That one's $450 and $315 after the sale. I don't know, like anything. It's rare to find great pages at $300. I mean, I wish that wasn't the case, but I think there's a lot of great examples here in that range. So whatever. All right, let's move on to G.I. Joe. We'll do a couple of those pages, and then we will wrap it up. The first two are a really good pairing of pages, and ideally, I would recommend somebody, keep them together because I like this sequence and I could never really determine if I wanted to buy one or the other. So then I really wanted to buy both, but then I just opted for neither because of just pricing. But yeah, G.I. Joe number 3, page 11. It's Duke and Risk. They meet each other, and they instantly have this alpha male confrontation. So they have this fight that ensues. The Duke doesn't like that Risk has now joined the team without his authorization, and it's just very frustrated. He's frustrated about some of the losses that they've faced to this point. And he takes all his frustrations out on Risk. Risk is very happy in starting a fight because he's an ex-cage fighter, so he's very comfortable in that environment, so he's happy to trade blows there. But yeah, I love how this page unfolds. Duke kind of pointing down on him and saying like, you're not on my team, you're not part of this. And Risk is like, well, maybe they need a new leader. Maybe you're not up to the task. And then a true act of leadership comes in, and you get that knife that's flying in, and it separates the two of them, and it's the reveal is the next page. It's Stalker, who has gravely injured from the events of the first and second issue. He's trying to mend there, but he can't rest while these two knuckleheads are going at it unnecessarily. They're not the true enemy, but they're fighting each other like they are. So Stalker puts an end to it. So you see the top panel of this page is the smart choices that Tom did in this top panel. I can't overstate. Now it's the way that the camera angle is tilted. Stalker is clearly weak. He's off kilter. He's leaning against the door frame to prop himself up, and the camera's tilted just ever so slightly, and it's there propping him up, and you get it so that you feel his weight leaning against the door frame, and that's really cool. The hand outstretched there as he just released the knife, and it's essentially him saying, just cut it out, guys. Like, what the hell are you doing? We need to come together. And at the very end, this is he has to go make he has to go break some really bad news to some people, and you see the weight of that on his shoulders, and just the body language in this page is what sells it for me. But right, so the page 11, the one we just talked about, them fighting, was that's the one that's 440. A lot of action on that one, and then this page is 260 after the discount. So yeah, I don't know. That's a good 1-2 character page sequence. And you get Duke on there. You get a new character that's joining the team in Risk, and then a really great character moments from Stalker. But yeah, that's just, I really love those. All right, now let's go to G.I. Joe. Let's see, it's issue 4, page 18. Let's see what that one is. Oh yeah, okay. So this one is for one that if somebody's really looking for a page that's not going to break the bank, but also if you really like all the Cobra characters, this is a page that has, I think, let me see, yeah, it's like all the Cobra members up to this point that are on this page. Cobra Commander, Mercer, Destro, Chameleon, the Crimson Twins, and you got Ripper on there from the Dreadnought. So yeah, and you get a nice shot of Cobra Commander's close up of his face in the first panel, and then the raised fist in the second panel, and the calculated nature in that last panel. So you get a lot of flavors of Cobra Commander's character in the panels that he shows up on in this page, plus that kind of the team shot in that second panel. So that's for those reasons alone, I think that's a good value, and that's $350 is and then. So yeah, $280 after the discount. So, I mean, I think it's pretty good. That's up to someone else to decide if it's really good. But that's pretty solid. All right, and then I want to talk about a couple pages from issue 5 because I've mentioned how much I love that issue. So this is that kind of kicks off the double page spread that we saw with them leading off the fight. This is that moment of the reveal of Clutch. Revealing himself to Cobra as they've had a mole in their midst the whole time. That page is $400, and so $320 after. Is that right? $320 after the discount. I don't know, man. And then the next page, page 7, is you see the effects of, once he unloads from the his tank and fires on all the Cobras. He takes out some soldiers. Again, I love that top panel of Destro outstretched firing like the wrist rockets, and Chameleon reacting there, Mercer kind of jumping into action. And I love how you get the trajectory of the kind of the bullets raining down, because it was from an elevated position from the his tank, but you get them. It's like the way that the camera is tilted. You get that sense that that's where it's coming from. The fire is coming from above, and that's pretty awesome. Mercer protects his leader. You get the Joes who scramble to safety momentarily. And you get, Ripper ducking for cover, not really doing anything in the moment. But the after effects of the Energon weapons from the his tank, you get that really close up of Clutch, and then that last panel closes out. I just love the Energon, the infused weapons kind of just piercing through and going through the soldiers. And there's a lot of this is the big release for Clutch to kind of in response to some things that happened at the end of issue 1 of the series. It's a very cathartic release for Clutch here. And yeah, that's I love this page. There's a lot to love. I mean, a lot of ink, a lot of lines, a lot of action going on. And that's $450. So that one's $360 after the discount. So again, right around that $350 range, and it's a really solid dynamic page. That's pretty great. And on this next one, so I talked about the page that kind of had all the Cobra characters on there, if you're looking for that. And this is I think, a complementary page to that offers a panel page with all the Joe characters at the end of the series, or end of the story. This is issue 6, page 17. The one thing to note of this one, it's like I talked about before, that Tom, because of deadlines, I think he ran out of 11 by 17 boards. So half of the issue was drawn on 11 by 14 boards. So, and the price is reflected in that. It's a lower price because of the smaller size board, which I personally don't mind, especially when you can get value out of that. All right. So it's page 17. It's after the conflict between Cobra and the Joe team has resolved. A lot of the action from issue 5 that carries on into issue 6, and then the end of issue 6, you get them kind of returning to base, licking their wounds, but also feeling a sense of pride because the team has come together, and that's what you get. You get Duke reporting back to Hawk. You get a shot of the team, getting bandaged up and showing that they're a more of a cohesive unit now. So you get all those Joe characters on here, and that's $250 before the discount. Yeah, $200. Now, yeah, it's an 11 by 14 board, but for $200 to get a published page, I mean, $200, you take $200 to a convention and show me what you can get with $200 instead of maybe deciding to put $200 towards a published page. So be it 11 by 14 or not, that's just a great, I think that's great value and a great opportunity to put that money towards a published page. So, when you take a step back and think about, we often get kind of lost in our, it's not 11 by 17. It's not what what I think it should be, but just take a step back and realize, like, what, that's still good value for what's there. So, that's, there are many more pages that I could talk about, and like I said, I probably will. Why not? Because it's fun to talk about. But I hope it was helpful. I hope that I'm not trying to get people to spend money that they don't want to spend. It's just, if these are things that you're thinking about when looking at a bunch of pages that are available, these are the things that I think about. Like, what does the page offer? How much is it? What types of things am I looking for? Am I looking for vehicle action? Am I looking for Cobra characters, Joe characters, intimate dialogue moments? What is it that is the page that you think is representative from the series? And that's, there's other ones that I didn't talk about that do feature some more of the vehicles in action and so maybe I'll do that next time. Basically, using this as an excuse to talk about some art that I love. So I hope you appreciate it. I hope you had fun. So if you're interested in checking out the site, modernmythologycomicart.com, the sale's going on for the rest of November. Now, so there was when the sale started, there was kind of a flurry of activity that some of the pages sold. But now, so with that said, I think the rush is done for those that were really waiting for pages to go on sale. Now, so if there are pages that you find that are available, there's less of maybe like an urgency. You could email Josh if I know that he's done payment plans in the past. So if it's beneficial for you to kind of break up the payments, I mean that's what I've done in the past. It's just because real life is not cheap as it is. So if that makes it a little more manageable to break it up into a couple different payments, reach out to Josh. Email him. I'll have his email address in the description of this video, and see what's possible. See what he's willing to do. And I'm sure that he's very reasonable. I worked with him many times in the past, so it's a great way to get a piece of art in your collection, and he will definitely work with you to help that help make that a reality. So, yeah. Anyway, with that said, I appreciate you watching this one, and I will see you soon.